law enforcement had a tremendous impact. That had to happen and be established. Then wildlife management. We began to see biologists come on board. We began to see our colleges teach wildlife management, like LSU was first, Auburn in fisheries, then Mississippi State, Southern, Ole Miss, and we began to see people really want to do something to improve wildlife on their property. And another thing, we were living in a flush time for as economic money. People had more money than they did back in the 50s and 60s, certainly in about the 70s. And we seen people beginning to spend money and put a lot of effort on their own lands, where prior to that, it was left up to, nature. And nature did a good job, but man was able to do to add to, I think. And when we see these populations come up, we saw a shift from shooting a deer just to shoot a deer to shooting a deer for the quality of the deer. And it's taken a slow process, but and now with the money that's spent in wildlife management and all the new tricks of the trade that's come along, and the shooting blinds and the tree stands and the deer scents and all the things that we have today, it's just like, you can't believe it how things have improved. Hunter ed changed. Hunter ed started out by the National Rifle Association in New York City, I think in the 1930s or 40s, primarily to curtail accidents, to stop hunting accidents. It was like a 3-hour course, gun handling, actions, how they worked and things, strictly on gun safety. Well, the states began to realize that was teaching this as what the NRA was saying we need to cover. Then they said, look, this is a golden opportunity to teach other things. That's when hunter ethics came in. And that's when wildlife management was coming in, game identity. And we saw a real shift, or an additional to safety, which has done an extremely good job in really training the young people to be ethical, to be responsible, and to be safe. Billy Joe Cross became the executive director of the Mississippi Game and Fish Commission, and he hired me. And oh man, I thought I died and gone to heaven. And I stayed for about 3 years, and everything was real good. And then I had a fellow offer me a job selling seed and fertilizer, like Jerry Clower, I guess you'd say. And the money looked good, and things were going. But man, after 3 weeks, I was sick that I had left the Game and Fish Commission. I said, my dream, my job, and here I am thinking money overrides that type of work. And I went back to Mr. Cross and I said, Mr. Cross, is there any way I can get back on with the Game and Fish? And he said, your old truck's still sitting out there. And I said, can I have it? He says, you can. And look, after he allowed me to come back on out of the goodness of his heart, hey, it wasn't a job in the world that could have pulled me away from working with the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. Nothing could compare with it. And the friends I've made, and the roads I've traveled, and nothing. I wouldn't trade my life for any kind of money or popularity or prestige. It's been a wonderful job.